In this video, I'm going to show you to use the API template node inside N8N to be able to create images quickly and easily through your workflow automations. So what API template is a service that you can essentially create a template of an image that you want to use and then use an automated system like N8N to send the information over, like a quote image or a certificate or something like that. You can use this workflow to have it automatically create that image for you. So that way you don't having to go in and manually put it in Photoshop or Affinity Designer or whatever the case may be. Like say you decide you want to send out quotes every day, you can just use something like this. So to get started, we do need to create an API template account. There is a link in the description that if you do use and sign up for one of the paid accounts, it does help support the channel, which I greatly appreciate. Thank you. If you don't, the API template actually does have a free tier, which I'll go to that now. You do get 50 images per or PDFs. I'm only going to go over the images in this case, but you can do PDFs with this as well. You get 50 images or PDFs per month, and you get 3 templates you can mess around with. If you decide that 50 isn't enough or you want to do more, obviously there's more tiers involved. But for this, for the 50 images, if you do 1 image a day for your social media or whatever, it's more than enough to cover it. So to get started, we do need to sign up for an account. So up here at the top right, click on sign up. I already have an account, so I'm just going to hit login. And once you are signed into your account, you'll be brought to this dashboard. It'll show you how many available you have for the remaining of the month. And you can actually come down here and view the history of the JPEG or PNGs that you've created. Up here at the top, we got manage templates. We go to new image templates. And then at the top left, we want to name it. So in this case, I'm going to do a Facebook quote. And then down here, it gives you a couple of different categories and the resolutions that they have for the templates, but you can always change these. So don't feel like you have to use one of those. But for the example here, I'll just use this one, the morning reminder, and then click on create. And it's going to take you back to your managed templates, and then you can see the name that you put in here. You can always click on that little button to hit to rename it, but I'll show you a different way to do it as well. And then if you hit on edit, it would actually take you into this part, which is kind of like any other image editor that you've used before. So you have all your layers here on the right, and if you select them, they'll highlight on the left-hand side to show you which each layer is. Over here on the left, you have all these different choices of different kind of layers you can put on the template. So like, for instance, if you want to put a circle on there, put a circle. And it's going to add it in over here in your layers. Then you can change the color, you can add a stroke to it, change width, all that fun stuff. You can add a new text line, change the text, color, position, wherever you want to put it. If you want to add an image, you can choose one of these rectangular or static images, and then you can upload an image by clicking here, and then find it on your computer and upload it. So that way it'll always be the same on this template. So you don't need to change it through the API commands. So like say you have a profile picture you want to put in here, you could do that. Or if you have a business logo, you could put that on here. Or if you have a specific background you know you're always going to want to use, you can upload that image so that way you know it's always where you want it, the right color, the right size, everything's ready to go. And then you could, on the right here in the layers, you can also rearrange the layers. So if you want that image I just put on there maybe behind everything else so that this is on top, you can. If you want to hide it, you can do that. If you want to duplicate it, you can click that. If you just want to straight up delete it, click that. So typically you want to name these layers something appropriate so that way you'll know what you're changing. So in this case, the background and the text quote is what I'm going to be changing in N8N. But you can change the name up here to whatever you want. And then this text is actually going to be changed through N8N. So here, what you want to do is actually set it up so that this is the right color, the right font, the right spacing. If you want to left or right align it, whatever the case may be. All of those settings that you put in will remain the same. The only thing that's going to change, in this case at least, is the text. And then same with the background. The background is going to be an image that we can actually change So that way it's not always this starry background, for instance. But I just want to reinforce that whatever you set in here, it's going to keep that, and then you can decide what you want to change. But now that that's created, I'm going to show you how to actually set up N8N real quick with the API key, so that way we can actually modify this a little bit. So on the top left, click on Save. And then once it's done saving, at the top right, hit the X to get out of this editor. And then at the top here, the API integration, click on that. And this is going to be your API key. Click on the blue button to copy it. And if we head over to N8N, we can add an API template node. And in this case, we're going to create an image. And then we need to add the credentials. So at the top, click on Create New Credential. Then paste your API key in here. And then you can rename it to something different. Like if this is one specific email, you can put that in here. So that way you can differentiate them in the future if you want. So once you have your credentials saved in there, we want to check the resource, make sure it's image. And then the operation, create. And then the template name or ID. This is going to be the name of the template that we selected earlier. And now that that's set up, we then have an option to do JSON parameters, or we can actually come in here and add an override. So there's two different ways you can do this. If we go back to our API template website, click on Manage Templates, and then go back to edit this template. I do want to show you real quick on the top right under template settings. Here's another way you can change the name, and then you can also change the width and the height of the image it's going to generate here for you. What I was talking about before about the layer names. So this name here, and if you look on if you hover over any of the fields, you'll see this JSON field name that comes up for every field here. So you can actually use N8N to change any of these values. So like say you want this one to be left aligned, you can choose the text align and set it to left or center or right, for instance. So what you do is copy the text quotes for the name of the layer, go back to here, add an override, add property, put the name of the layer and then dot, and then the property. So in this case, we're going to change the text. Or if you want to change the width, you would do dot width, but we're going to do dot text. And then the value would be whatever you want to be. So like, thanks for watching. And then if I were to execute this, it's going to send the command to API template and change just that text. And it's going to then give you a URL for the image. And if we go and bring that up, there you go. So you could then put this in as a step in your workflow and then have things go automatically for you. So that way it can then send you this URL into like a database or an email or into Slack, wherever. That is the one way you can do it. So again, you would need the name of the layer, the name, dot, and then text in this case. If we want to change the background, we can click on background and then source, lowercase src. So if we come over here, copy background, click on add property, .src, and then just go to Pixabay or something. And then why not just grab this guy. Copy image address. Now this is obviously being hard-coded right now, just for the example, but you can drag and drop values from your workflow and put them in here. But just as a quick demo, I just wanted to show you that you could do this. There you go. So now the background changed as well as the font. I'm sorry, the text. Now another way you can do it, inside API Templates website, they have this preview / API console. This is the actual information that is sent to API Template. And this is just an example they have on their website, but if you're more comfortable seeing it this way, if you're a developer and used to JSON, for instance, this is what this is. But the name of the layer is going to be that. And then these are kind of like some default values they think that people are going to use typically. But like, for instance, if we're going to change just the text quotes and the background, we actually don't need to send this other stuff. So I'm going to take those off. And then the text is what we're going to change and along with the source. So just for example, let's go grab another one. Sure. So if you wanted to experiment and play around with this before you actually build it into a workflow, you can actually come in here and change this stuff. And if you click on this quick preview and you see it free over here, you can mess around with this information first, run this, and see if it comes up the way you expect it to over here. And then once we get back on init-n, you would just change this source, the text, for instance. And then in here, what you need to do is copy the brackets, not the curly braces. So you don't want to include the override or the colon, just bracket to bracket. And go back into init-n. I'm just going to leave this one alone just because we know it's working. Put a new one in here and then use JSON, choose a template first, and then JSON parameters. I'm going to put the exact same thing in that I just put, but you can come in here and click on the expression. You can expand this and you can edit this source. It's the exact same thing I just copied from that website. You can edit that source and have it fill in from something previous. Like if we want to put in today's date or the now or active false name, whatever, you can grab one of those. Here, we'll just do it. Why not? So we'll throw this into here. So now if you look on the right, that's what it's going to send as the text. I'm just going to leave the image here, but that's how you can actually use things in your workflow and have it automatically update in here. And then same deal, if we execute the step, it's going to then send this information now instead of the previous parameters that we had set up before. It's going to send this over, create the image again. And now it has the text I put in there from init-n. If you build this into your workflow, you can actually have like ChatGPT generate some quotes for you automatically and then put those the messages it sends you into here, and it will give you that URL, which then you can download the image and put on your socials, for instance. So another neat or nice thing to have, if you create another one here and choose get an account, it will actually show you all the information about your account. And the main thing that is good to have is this API remaining. So this kind of gives you a heads up that you have, in my case, 44 remaining. And it tells you the expiration period starts on that date and ends on this date. On September 1st is when I would get a new batch of 50 tokens to be able to use on their website. Again, that's under the free. So if you decide to purchase one of the paid tiers, obviously you would get way more. But I felt like the free version was very generous in that 50 free every month. And again, if you're using it for social media or something like that, you can at least get away with one every day and then some. Hopefully you found that helpful. If you have any questions or concerns or comments or suggestions for future videos, please leave them in the comments below. Thank you for watching and I hope you have a great rest of your day.